Hey traders, this is Christian from Tribeca Trade Group with your end of day recap for Wednesday. As always, I'll start with the indices here, and not much to really look at here in the S&P. It's been the same story almost every day, right? We've been talking about this, where it's just been we're trading in a smaller range. It looks like I have to extend this a little bit. These two lines here on my chart extend to the right. So it looks like we did get out of this range that I was talking about yesterday. I said one way or another we're probably going to pop out of this thing. This is the 1 hour chart, and it looks like we're pressing above it now. So we'll see. Maybe we've got another leg to go here higher. One thing that I will just mention, which I've been mentioning to everybody in the trading room, is that considering the last couple of weeks that we're a little bit overbought, when we come in the morning, we're up like 15, 20 basis points. When futures are up 15 or 20 basis points, it is a recipe, I wouldn't say for disaster. It's just that it's not something that you really want to buy into. So this has been going on now. Every time that we come in and futures are up a little bit, which again I think futures were up because of Europe. The DAX was up about a 0.5%, so we follow the cue from Europe, generally speaking. And unless there's some major economics or something going on pre-market, but we usually follow what Europe is doing. And Europe was up over a 0.5% this morning. They did come back in; they did not finish up that strong. But this seems to happen quite a bit now the last couple of weeks when we come in, especially Nasdaq. I think Nasdaq was up a little bit more, and you could see it's bid up all the way until the open. And if you've been watching my videos the last couple of weeks, you know that I've been talking about this. So I tell we have a pre-market session where I say, this is not a good sign that we're up 20 basis points because we're going to get crushed again. So it's not that we got crushed. It's just, it's not really something that you want to chase. Even sometimes the first bars look great, the first 5 minute bars, and then we completely just melt from there on in. So that's basically what NASDAQ did today. I don't really think there's any other major signal to kind of go on, maybe another doji for the day. So again, it just continues to be a slow, methodical move until we get some volatility. And it's becoming very. I would say that this is not an easy market to trade because you kind of feel like you're going to get some volatility and you just don't want to keep chasing things as they move up. So we continue to look for things that are not overbought in the trading room and look for good signals on things on names that are dipping a little bit because we're just not really getting major dips to kind of go after. So interesting small caps. They were the worst performer yesterday, and they were the out of the major indices that I look at, they were the best performer. Dow I don't really look at that much because it's flawed. It's price weighted, so I skip over that one. But so I really look at S&P, the Qs, and small caps. And small caps finished up about a 0.5% today, so they were the outperformer. And just like every other day, it's been you have some groups that are outperforming. Yes, 2 days ago the Chinese internet names outperformed. Yesterday they underperformed. Today they outperformed again. So the KWEB ETF up another 1%. So at least some of these groups of stocks, you have a little bit bigger candles to kind of trade through. So an inside day after that big red candle yesterday, but still in an uptrend. The banks were also very well bid in the morning. You can look at KBE or KRE, but they were up about 70 basis points, and they had some range to them a little bit. KRE actually looks like a doji, so it looks like it kind of closed where it opened. But some names moved up a little bit. There was a tiny bit of call buying in a couple of these names. BAC. There wasn't anything to really jump up and down about. I mean, we're talking about small. There was a couple small aggressive trades, but you could see, like for example, Morgan Stanley, which I did play for earnings and made some money on the earnings trade. But you could see, I mean, this is really like petty stuff here. We're talking about how much here in premium? Premium, like it doesn't even get to $10,000, $7,000. This one was a little bit bigger, $42,000. But really some small stuff. These were some November calls that traded, so a little bit of repeat stuff. But and the same thing with BNC. I could show you that one too, but it's kind of the same type of formula. So the banks outperformed today. Metals and mining did okay today. Semis actually finished up on the day. Semis caught a little bit of volatility. And I was saying, hey, finally they're going to come off overbought levels, and they managed to come all the way back. So big red bars, and I thought, hey, this is going to be the day that this might crack a little bit. Which again, I'm kind of rooting for at this point. I'm rooting for some of these overbought levels to be burned off here. But maybe we just don't. We're not ready to do that yet. Go back to IWM here for a minute. Notice this got way overbought, and the RSI we're no longer overbought anymore. So maybe we're ready for that next leg higher in small caps. We'll see. I was thinking that we could come in a little bit further, but we just haven't done it. So that is that. Let me start going through a couple of today's trades. By the way, a couple of real big winners once again in the trading room. Adobe after hours pre-announced some strong numbers. So we've been in the December 150 160 call spread. We actually added to it today. I went through. This is basically what we do on a daily basis. Is we go through and we look. Which I don't have this from this morning, but I looked at open interest from yesterday's Adobe, which basically was right around the open interest. But I confirmed that this November 155 calls that were purchased that did look like they were purchased yesterday. When there's the exact same open interest, I always go back and check, and the open interest did increase, and so we went ahead and I added to it today. So a little bit lucky, but sometimes when you do your research and you do your work, things work out for you. So and it's good to see that this one is going to work out for the room. So that's Adobe. So nice add today. Mountain. So a couple names that we've been really stalking or put on trades. This is Vail Resorts. I shot a video yesterday on a trade idea in Vail Resorts, up 2% and looking pretty good. This is exactly what we wanted to see. We saw November calls yesterday. I structured this as a December call spread. I actually had a little bit of the Novembers on as well, so hit targets in both trades today. Still needs to get over the 50-day moving average, so still has some work to do, but hopefully we'll see an MACD crossover. That should also reinforce things a little bit. As well, so keep your eye on that one tomorrow. Another one, CAVM, which I got a little bit worried when we saw semis sell off, but this thing looks like it's trying to break out here. It hesitated around those highs, but nice looking move here. Let's see if we get some continuation. I'm looking for this thing to get up to around $74, but we'll see. We'll see if we can. First things first, we need to clear this level here. So that's a couple names that we've been talking about that were nice winners. What didn't perform today? Biotech. So talked about healthcare. I did want to bring this up because it looks like some of these XLVs that I was jumping up and down about yesterday about how good a signal it was. I believe that they took a portion of that trade down today, the November 84s. So it did hit a 52-week high today, but was kind of lackluster today. Oops. And certainly biotech was one of the worst performers along with energy stocks. Energy stocks, I'll tell you, even though crude has been hanging in there, crude got up to the 52 handle today, the energy stocks are not following this or not believing this move in crude. It's been this way a couple days now since crude is just kind of sitting here above 52, which you would think would be a little bit better for energy stocks, but they have been getting beaten up pretty badly. I have a small position on in Oxy, which I'm starting to get impatient with because I see what's going on with OIH, which is down, XLE back down, XOP. I mean, they're all down. They're all getting beaten up. All these energy names, even though oil's not moving. So I don't know if it's they're leading and they're telling us something is that this move up to 52 in crude is short-lived. We'll see. Something to keep an eye on. Both gold and bonds, both down again today. That was a contributor to the bond outperformance. The bank outperformance today was that bonds, TLT was down almost 70 basis points. A couple other movers. Yeah, so biotech, since we had this false breakout day, or false move higher, it's been tough sledding. So we'll see if we hold the 20-day moving average, but starting to get a little bit maybe oversold here in an uptrend. I mean, look at how many red days, red candles here. So could set up for a nice buying opportunity. I think you just have to be a little bit patient. Wait until we reclaim, maybe have a nice green arrow that reclaims, this arrow. One other name that I was looking at today, Alibaba, we did actually structure a small trade for singles. It closed right where I needed it to kind of get over. So I'm looking for the price to get back over this candle, but we did set up a trade today for the Singles Day event. So again, you have to be a subscriber of Tribeca Trade Group to get that alert. But we did structure that one today. We also structured another earnings possible run-up trade, Priceline, which actually stalled here right at the earnings gap. So we'll see what this does tomorrow. In terms of option trades today, they did buy the dip in EA. I tried playing this for a day trade today, and I took it off at the end of the day. Small winner. I think I bought some November calls at 3:30. Got out of them around 350, 360. So nothing to jump up and down about. But they did buy those. We saw some RDUS, which was a nice. Whoever bought those did a nice job. Some RDUS calls in the morning. We also saw some more. We saw some Abbott post earnings calls. We also saw some AbbVie calls being bought. TXT was another trade that we saw. They do report. I don't. They report tomorrow morning. So sometimes I'm usually not a fan of when somebody buys options the day of earnings. Usually the guys who are really good at knowing something's going on buy options a couple weeks before the earnings. So I'm usually not a fan, but the TXT looks like they were bought aggressively. Couple other names that saw some activity in biotech was BLCM, BMRN, but it's been super active in terms of option flow. And one more, IMMU, which we've seen now repetitively. So we are seeing some buying in the small cap biotech space. That's definitely picked up, over the last couple weeks. JD calls, which I think JD closed. I don't think JD closed on the highs. But still making progress. So, a couple of these candles that we looked at today, they're like almost there and almost ready to kind of take out some levels. So, like I said in the beginning of the video, there's in the beginning of the video, the overall indices look kind of tough right now. Most of them are overbought. But there are some things like JD.com, which is not overbought, and they've been continuously buying here into the weakness. So if it just starts to turn the corner here, maybe we could get up to at least to the point of control here, which is right around $42. So there are definitely trades and things to look at. A couple other end of day trades. Somebody asked me if I took this trade today in Twinkies, Hostess. No, I mean, I generally, every once in a while, I will trade something counter trend. Maybe it's putting in a hammer bar here today, but there's just better opportunities than trying to play with names that are well below the 200-day moving average. So maybe they bounce, but it's tough. It's tough to sometimes get a bounce in some of these names, but it's definitely oversold. So I kind of see where they're going with this trade, but for me, I passed on the trade today. I like to stick to names that are dipping in uptrends, not getting obliterated. But maybe it bounces, considering how oversold it is. All right, so I'll leave it there for today. Have a great night, and I'll see you guys back in the trading room bright and early tomorrow morning. A lot of earnings coming up tomorrow and after the close yesterday. I really haven't been playing that many names for earnings. I've been very selective, but I've got a couple names that are on my radar for tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody. See you tomorrow.